I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sands, it's my buddy Patrick McCray, it's my buddy Alan Gallinat. We're here to review the movie Doctor Strangelove, directed by the legendary Stanley Kubrick. So, guys, what is your favorite Stanley Kubrick film?
It might be this one. Yeah, it might really be this one. It certainly is one of the most user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not Full Metal Jacket.
No,
Barry Lyndon.
It does, but this is one of the movies where he has a great deal to say. Outside of just being I must be a brilliant director and have 87 takes.
It's almost like he has so much to say with this movie, he doesn't have time to play a bunch of games.
Right.
Right.
With A, the actors, and B, the audience.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of Sterling Hayden here?
He's marvelous.
Great.
Just insane. He is sanely insane.
Yeah. And this was the sort of second tier of his career. He was at the tail end of Hollywood's golden age and a golden boy. And he was also in the noir era. I mean, he goes back that far. But this is sort of the second coming of Sterling Hayden happens in the 60s and 70s.
Wasn't he in one of Kubrick's earliest movies? Wasn't he in The Killers?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah. But he's brilliant here. He's absolutely insane, which gives Sellers a lot of play. It gives him an enormous amount of play to make that character different than his other characters. And he really does. He's really generous, I think, with his characterization here.
Yes.
Yeah, he does a really good job of mixing the seriousness and the comedy, and the fact that you're going off Peter Sellers couldn't have been easy, because Peter Sellers is naturally funny.
Yeah.
But he does a good job, though.
At least Sellers not going to do too much weird stuff under Kubrick's thumb.
Right. He was kind of forced to do the character work that he was also brilliant at, and not so much shtick.
And he was supposed to do another character in the movie. He was supposed to play Major Tom.
He was a pilot, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, and he pretended to break his ankle.
Yeah, because enough's enough.
Yeah.
And I think he was right, because I think, it was going to be too much. It was going to be too much for him, but it's also going to be too much for the audience, I think, to have him play 4 characters. And he really finally drew the 3 characters that he ended up playing anyway, so I don't think anybody complained.
It makes life aboard the bomber a really refreshing break.
Yeah. From that actor's feat that he's performing. Sure. Hayden also, I mean, it's weird because for me, his character, the general prefigures G. Gordon Liddy by about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's talking about things like the essence, and he's really fucking serious,
fluoridation,
and he's really serious about, I'm in charge, I'm going to blow up the world, and all this stuff. And when G. Gordon Liddy had any whiff of power at all, that was who he was. When he was caponized later in his career, although he didn't act like he'd been caponized.
What does caponized mean? What a great word.
He
well, no, seriously, what's it mean?
It means he had his balls clipped.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a rooster who'd had his balls clipped.
Yeah. All right. That's fine. I was just curious.
Yeah. Because he had, after Watergate, even though he was still swaggering around and saying how he'd kill anybody that looked at him cross-eyed, but he ended up doing what those hype tours with Timothy Leary.
Leary, yeah, he had the Dog and Pony Show.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Sterling Hayden reminds me so much of him. He's the true believer, but he believes his true belief is in himself and his omniscience. And his ability to make all decisions and do all bad things and justifiably. So, yeah.
It was nice to see George C. Scott do some comedy here. It's really fun too.
He's a funny man. He's a big board.
You wouldn't say that to his face, but yes, he could be a funny man. Absolutely.
You don't, no, really, you don't think he had any sense of humor at all?
Oh, he was variously described as being a bastard, a shitheel, impossible to work with, a drunk. He was a brilliant guy. He was a brilliant actor, but he had a lot of issues.
Because I look at him in Legion, in Exorcist 3, and he's very funny, and it's an intentionally funny performance.
Right.
In a lot of places, and Blatty is a funny man.
Right.
So now that was one of his last movies.
Yeah.
So maybe he had evolved or something.
I think he saw the credibility in comedy as he
yeah.
on, because he was nothing if not concerned about his credibility as an actor.
Well, I mean, if he could be, I mean, only George C. Scott would say, well, if I can be funny in a Lee J. Cobb kind of way.
Yes,
So he's playing a Lee J. Cobb character, and Lee J. Cobb didn't have any problem with the one-liners.
No, not at all. Not at all. And he also didn't have problems being the overwrought straight man in those Flint films.
Oh, God, he's so good.
Yes,
he is so
fantastic.
Good.
Is George C. Scott like funny? I think he can give funny performances. There's times in movies where he's playing an attorney opposite James Stewart, where he is funny at times, but he usually plays such straight characters to the point of their dramatic characters. Like, I've seen Exorcist 3, and you're right, there's humor in his character for all the crazy, like, stuff going on in that movie. It's nice to see him do comedy in it. But this here, to me, was some of the most comedy he gets to do, and he nails it.
Yeah, he does. He like I was telling you before, from stories that I've heard, he didn't fully understand that he was necessarily being funny. Yeah. But I don't think anybody told him any different. They just sort of said, you do it this way, or, figure out a way to have this reaction, or to pull aside his acting partner and say, do this to him and see what he does.
His physical clumsiness is really funny.
It is. And I think that he got. I think because he could be specific with that, And, I think that he got. And also, I don't think he had any problem being pompous and funny with his girlfriend either, because, he's also, at the same time, he's being a very potent masculine figure.
You start your countdown, and old Bucky will be back before you can say blast off.
That's right.
Yeah, his girlfriend Tracy Reed is Miss Scott.
Yes, she's great.
Yeah, she also appears as Miss Bergen, Miss Foreign Affairs. She was also the Playboy Playmate in Playboy's June 1962 issue. So
yeah, fun. She posed for that mock-up that James Earl Jones is ogling with the
all right
book over her rear end, or the magazine over her rear end. Yeah, she posed for that as well.
Yes. So this movie, guys, cost $1.8 million to make. Its box office was $9.2 million. It made some money.
Marvelous.
It's serious money for 1964. Yeah.
This is a bit fun for me because distributed by Columbia Pictures. Its release date is January 29th, 1964. Now, the reason I bring this one up January 29th, 1964. Mm-hmm. I bring that up because of another movie made by Columbia Pictures called Failsafe, which was a more serious plot, was released October 7th, 1964. It doesn't. Which
like give the people what they want on both ends of the stick.
Kubrick knew Failsafe was being made. He said, "Look, I want my movie released first."
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. I don't blame him either.
No, not at all.
We're not in the world of 78 takes.
But these kind of movies were making huge box office at the time, because you were starting to get, in the world of comedy and television and everything else, you're getting this Cold War sensibility, this questioning, the comedy was Cold War, a lot of it, or it was My Psychiatrist, or, that kind of stuff. Big time stuff going on, Mort Saul and, Lenny Bruce and Woody Allen was a stand-up at this point in time. So all these guys had, the angst, the Cold War angst was coming through, as well as the political commentary for some. Mort Saul was famous for it.
Yeah.
And so was Lenny Bruce. Tons of political, kind of raised eyebrows kind of stuff in between F-bombs, which is, of course, oh my God, he's saying the F-bomb. But that wasn't the real reason they were upset with him. They were upset with him because he was breaking the status quo into pieces. Mort Saul did the same thing with a lot less F-bombs, but it was a golden age for that kind of sensibility, for those kinds of things. And these movies like Failsafe and Strangelove were, and the Manchurian Candidates, various ones like that were all, they were all touching that pulse at that time.
Yeah.
Very interesting time.
You talked about Kubrick's takes. How much of a perfectionist was he?
He drove some people completely insane.
Almost out of the business.
Shelley Duvall was ruined by that man. She never fully recovered from it. Because he was a taskmaster, and he was constantly like take after take after take, sometimes 70, 80 takes. Ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, that's a technique, because he wouldn't do that necessarily because he didn't get what he wanted. He was trying to put the actor in the emotional state.
Right.
There was just going to be that extra bit of nuance. And, Wendy has to be exhausted.
He's trying to break him down. Absolutely.
Yeah, because, we think about that technique because it's done to a lesser extent by Nick Meyer with Bill Shatner in Star Trek II, where that's how he got him to stop Shatnerizing. Is that he would just do take after take after take after take until Bill stopped acting.
Right.
And then he got the performance he wanted.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who I really think steals this movie. I really enjoy Slim Pickens as the pilot.
Oh my God.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's
just the perfect spice. You just
so
add that adobo, on the top, and there you go. It's he's wonderful. He obviously he had a wonderful career.
The thing I like about Slim Pickens in this is that his character is on top of being just a glorious buffoon, is nevertheless really smart.
Yeah.
And you can see the wheels turning. You can see him as a very competent commander and problem solver.
Yeah, he goes through the book. He goes through the book chapter and verse, and then he thinks about all maybe we should call so and so this and stuff. He's got the answers as a commander. You're right. He's not a buffoon. He's just crazy.
Characters we expect to not be buffoons are buffoons in this movie.
Right. Yes.
And characters who, ostensibly should be aren't. Again, I come back to Keenan Wynn making the vital choice to shoot the Coke machine, to follow what
shoot him. Right. Yeah, exactly. And yes, that is that's kind of the spice in the screenplay, where the audience gets a chance to be a little surprised, by stuff that's happening. So
yeah, one of my favorite roles Keenan Wynn plays other than this is I'm trying to think of the Western he's in with him before. He's in more than one, but the town where the outlaw comes and he ruins the town. Oh, Welcome to Hard Times.
Okay.
And Slim Pickens' character comes in with this new store, and he opens the store. It's but yeah, he with this movie, Slim Pickens does such a great job. And he's in my favorite werewolf movie, The Howling. I mean, he's had a hell of a career that has spanned decades.
He still should have been in the Christopher Atkins part in or Tom Atkins part in The Howling. That would have been a hell of a movie.
He should have been. No, he should have played Tom Atkins' character in Season of the Witch. That would have been a hell of
all of them. Yeah, Any John Beck character Slim Pickens should have played.
Yeah, that's right.
Why not?
The hypermasculinity of Slim Pickens.
Now, another thing I want to point out that's great about this movie is the scenic life. delivered by Ken Adam, who, you know, took all of his Bond sensibilities, and I think they had a bigger budget than he had on the Bond films initially, with this movie. And he wasn't. I think he was unavailable. In fact, for one, maybe it was Thunderball or something he couldn't make because he was making this. And you know, we've seen that War Room set show up again and again and again in other movies, where it's almost its own creature. You know, it shows up in X-Men First Class, a number of films, and it's one of the most perfect sets, one of those perfect combinations of light and darkness I've ever seen, and diagonal lines and light, and I just love it.
That central set, that War Room set, is, I mean, it's been featured in scenic design books.
Oh yeah, and there's some funny trivia about Ken Adam in this movie. For one thing, even though he knew the movie was going to be in black and white, do you know what he had on the table in the War Room?
Red phones.
Well, he had red phones, but the table was green felt.
Oh.
Like, because he wanted them to feel like they were playing in a massive poker game.
Right. Makes sense. That takes a designer with a director's sensibility to really, you know.
Well, and one with a lot of bravery. Adam is one of my heroes, and he was a German who flew for the RAF in World War II.
Wow.
Because it was the right thing to do.
Right.
And, you know, here's the deal. If other RAF pilots had been shot down, they would have been treated very well. You know, in our war camps.
He would have been summarily executed. Yeah.
Yeah, and he knew that every time he was getting into the cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
But the other cool thing that he did is, you know, they could not get inside one of those bombers. There's no way in hell that the military was going to let anyone see, photograph, glimpse what they had no business seeing, photographing, and glimpsing.
Not at the height of the Cold War, which
that's right.
Actually,
and so Adam, who was a pilot and was still an active pilot then, had to reason out how he thought those things were constructed and what he thought they looked like inside.
Based on his own pilot's logic.
Based on his own instincts and pilot's experience. He got a visit from the FBI.
I bet he did, because he came close.
It was so accurate. They said, okay, how did you figure this out? And it's like, I mean, I figured it out. I didn't get inside scoops. And they're like, well, Quark, we've got our eye on you. You know.
Yeah. Yes. They probably bugged him for years after that. You know? That would have been typical.
I think they used the War Room set a bit in Failsafe too. I think so. I'm not sure. I can't quite remember.
I don't know. That would have been awfully close to this being made.
Yeah.
But it shows later in all sorts of movies, in big and small.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. What is you guys' favorite set on this? Is it the plane? Is it the War Room?
The War Room.
War Room. Yeah, absolutely. It's iconic. And for a good reason. It's just it's a really good design. It's it allows for camera perspectives that are amazing.
Yeah.
You know, really high shots, low shots from in the middle of it, you know, all sorts of crazy, wonderful shots. And it's also really like it dominates, it oppresses almost. It's so massive.
And how they shoot the big board too, like with the airplanes getting called back and some of them getting shot down. Mm-hmm. I like the plane though too, the plane set. I like how they shoot the inside and the outside of it.
Yeah, it's a B-52, but again, he had to fake the inside of it, which apparently he didn't. It wasn't so fake.
He did very well. God bless him. What a genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really cool set designs on this. The movie's a lot of fun. Who's you guys' favorite character in this?
In terms of character, I admire Lionel Mandrake.
Yeah,
I mean, he's the moral center. Yeah. He's not the funniest character, but you know, maybe Merkin Muffley's the funniest character with the iconic phone calls to Dimitri.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a friendly call. If it weren't friendly, you.
But also Dr. Strangelove, of course.
Oh wow, yeah.
You know, the whole hand thing and the shtick that he was allowed to do was perfect. You know, and he was. I think that was the character in which Kubrick said, "Okay, you know, if we have to do this in 40 or 50 takes, that's fine. Go ahead, do what you want to do."
Operation Paperclip Run Amok.
Yeah. So that's definitely the most memorable character. But yeah, Mandrake's moral center, and he's definitely the most admirable character.
And an entertaining moral center.
He is.
No boring Lionel Mandrake line or performance.
No, he's not a stiff neck. He behaves like a stiff neck, but he's not one.
Yeah.
I really, my favorite character was Slim Pickens' character. And I love how James Earl Jones' character, when the bomb falls, he's like, what about him, though? That's down.
He's riding down. Yeehaw.
Dear John.
That's an iconic scene. That scene has been featured in music videos and everything else. I mean, it's an iconic scene of him dropping out of the bomb bay.
I like how they paint Dear John, they paint high on the other.
Like hi there,
yeah. Like what the hell? Oh my god. Yeah, if you want to see a funny satire like war movie like that centers around like the bomb and stuff, this is it. And if you want to see like the more serious tone, I've seen both Failsafe and this. Both movies are good.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, from an acting standpoint, but everybody hits their marks. And George C. Scott, he's like, oh, that guy who's flying the plane, they can get real low from.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good.
He has justifiable pride.
Of course he does.
And he's horrified.
Yes.
A great transition.
Yeah,
I like but he's also a BSer par excellence. Yes. Because when he's being grilled by the president, he's coming up with stuff. You can see it in his eyes. It's just coming off you know,
I'm not saying we want to get our hair lost.
But we didn't really mean that. I mean, in practicality, you know, he's doing all this sort of thing.
His gum chewing becomes more maniacal too.
Yeah.
Did you see that one quick shot? He's got like 5 or 6 packs of gums in front of him. It's like, just
yeah.
The other.
I like how his girlfriend calls her too. Of course, I'm gonna marry you. Or
oh yeah, I told you not to call me here.
Yeah. It's a take. It's funny because Walter Matthau is going to play basically a similar a more serious version of his character in a sense in Failsafe, but it's George C. Scott nails the humor in this definitely for sure. He may not do it was going to be what it was, but
I think he adapted well to the situation that he was placed in.
Yeah.
He might not have been entirely sure of things, which always kind of drove him buggy, not being absolutely in control of what he was doing. But at any rate, Kubrick got the takes he needed out of him, and they're brilliant. So,
yeah, yeah. Let's see. What's you guys' favorite scene?
Joel, that's
really rough because this thing is loaded. This is an arc that is bonded. Each scene is bonded to the next in terms of the arc of the whole thing. Memorable scenes, the whole crazy satirical, insane Cold War dalliance with Nazism that is embodied in Strangelove, because there was a Cold War dalliance with Nazism.
Yeah,
we loaded a whole bunch of Nazis into this country to help us develop the CIA and the NASA program and a whole bunch of other things.
As they say in The Right Stuff, no, our Germans are better than their Germans.
That's right. Yes. They've been approved. Yeah, but that is probably the height of the satire for me. There are other scenes that are equally as impactful, though. I mean, this whole movie is just like that.
I love the string, Jack. The string is going on my leg. I just,
yeah, that whole scene, that whole Mandrake scene with the general, that extended scene that was broken up in a couple places, but if you put it all together, it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
It really is.
Yeah.
I really like the scene I like too is the firefight sequence we get between the army. I think that was really well shot and well done.
It's also again, it's satirizing the different political factions within the military-industrial complex and how derangement happens when you have the pressures of Cold War and trying to figure out what the next move is and all of this sort of thing. Plus, add into that megalomania. And you got quite a stew. But yeah, the firefight is an example of that because basically it's the army attacking itself.
That's what's funny about it too.
It's our profession.
Yeah, he's fired a gun out the window. Oh my god! And Peter Sellers' character is just like helping him like feed the ammunition.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
And then he tries to say, "Hey, look, we're working together," and he tries to reason with him, and he still won't budge. He's still,
Oh God, what's the one? Mandrake has a great line where he says, "Yes, they all died. I'm sure their last thoughts were of you."
It's,
Yeah.
oh, they were.
Yeah.
Oh, they were thinking of you.
Yeah, Keenan Wynn's character has an interesting entrance in this movie. The one guy goes into the bathroom, he puts a towel around his neck, and he shoots himself. And then when Keenan Wynn's character goes, "Where's he at?" And he's like, "He's in there. He's in the bathroom. It's right there.
Next to you."
Right next to
In
you.
that bathroom. But Keenan Wynn makes a great entrance. He gets one of the great entrances in the movie. He gets to kick a door down.
Yeah.
It's like, boom, there he is.
Yeah.
Peter Lawford's lover for a while, apparently.
Oh, yeah?
Keenan Wynn, yeah.
Uncle Keenan.
Yeah.
Keenan's father was Ed Wynn.
The great Ed Wynn.
Fireman, yes.
Yeah. He's in one of the great Twilight Zone episodes, One for the Angels. A
Yeah.
very early Twilight Zone episodes. It's just marvelous.
Mm-hmm. It is. And both of those boys used to come up to Maine and play at Lakewood Theater back when it was a Broadway tryout house, high profile.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of performers would do that. Keenan was like, 18 or 20, and he'd come up there with his dad, and he'd get him bit parts in some of the plays and stuff. So yeah.
Like Will Geer and Burl Ives.
Oh God. Yes, that conversation. Mm. The geese, the ducks, or whatever it was, the swans. Yes.
1 out of 10. What do you guys give this?
10.5.
It's not even numbers don't apply.
Yeah, it's off the scale.
It really is.
It's a brilliant piece. This is one of the ones that the American Film Institute puts on its all-time list forever and ever.
This is a movie so good. I feel better about life after I see it. That just something like this was achievable by us. That we could do this.
Yeah.
The fact that you can make fun of one of the most tense situations of all time in American history and nail it.
And it desperately needed to be made fun of, too.
Yeah, and nail it. Was really, really smart by the writers and Kubrick. And I'm going to try to find the James Earl Jones interview where he talked about this, where Kubrick, because Kubrick, he's like, "Yeah, I thought we were done." And Kubrick's like, no, another take.
Yeah.
Well, that story, I mean, many actors have that story.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Which is, the late James Earl Jones. Great actor.
Yeah, this was like just the very, very beginnings. He was a very, very callow youth at this point.
I was shown The Great White Hope in school, actually, which was really a great movie.
Based on the stage play.
Yeah.
The stage play, which was really, that was one of the real coming out parties that James Earl Jones had. He's probably best known for that and Fences are the two Broadway shows that he's best known for. He's done up Driving Miss Daisy.
The Fences movie is pretty good.
Yes, it is.
He's not in it, but it's pretty good.
It is.
And you can't make a baseball movie without James Earl Jones.
Mm-hmm.
It's against the law.
Terrence Mann.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. What do you guys want to do tomorrow? Nathan?
I have a double feature that I wanted to suggest, either to be done on the same night or two subsequent nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I have the title right. Well, I know I have one of the titles right, which is Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
The Milos Forman movie about Andy Kaufman. But then I think it's called Jim and Andy. Is that it? Jim and Andy? It's the documentary that was made about Jim Carrey's obsession with claiming to be Andy Kaufman on the set, and you don't know if it's just a put on, like so much about Andy Kaufman's a put on, or if it's
real. He got lost in it.
Yeah.
Jim and Andy: The Great Beyond.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix, I believe. I think it was made for Netflix. They're good movies, and they go really well together. It's almost a shame to do one and not do the other, because they really work well. So Joel, that's my ambitious suggestion. I would do one night and one the other night.
We'll do Man on the Moon tomorrow.
Okay.
And then we'll do the documentary the next night.
I think that's great.
Sunday and Monday. Yeah. That's perfect. That also give us a lot of connective tissue to talk about on the second night too.
Yeah, Man on the Moon's a good movie, really good.
It is a good movie.
Carrey. I first learned about Andy Kaufman from my grandfather and grandmother when my grandmother my mom's mom was a huge wrestling fan. So I got into wrestling just because of her.
Hold on to some of this for.
Okay, I will.
We got 2 nights of
the whole Kaufman wrestling connection and all of that stuff. Yeah, that should be part of the discussion. Absolutely.
There's going to be a lot of links in the description box. There's going to be a link to the movie we just reviewed in the National Archives. Dr. Strangelove, really, really good. Go check it out. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook Unbound. Go pick it up if you haven't already. And link to Alan Glenn's YouTube channel, Collinsport After Dark. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow night.
Great. Thank you, Jewel.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.